Welcome to the AI Investment Memo. Today, we're digging into SiriusXM. We're going to break down the business, assess its competitive armor, and try to answer the big question. In a world of endless streaming options, is this a smart place to put your money, or is it a relic of a bygone era? Everybody knows SiriusXM, right? It's practically a monopoly in your car. But with all the competition out there today, you have to ask, is this company a high-margin cash machine protected by a fortress? Or is it more like a melting ice cube, slowly disappearing in the sun? That's really the core of it for any investor.
All right, first thing you need to get your head around is that SiriusXM isn't just one company anymore. It's really two distinct businesses living under the same roof.
So on one side, you have the original powerhouse, SiriusXM. That's the satellite radio, the one that's already in your car and you pay a subscription for it. But on the other side, you've got its modern-day counterpart, Pandora, and its podcasting platforms. This is their big push into streaming and ads. It's their strategy to capture your ears both inside and outside the car. And look, this whole transformation was very deliberate. They went out and bought Pandora in 2019 to get into streaming. Then they grabbed Simplecast and Stitcher in 2020 to get a piece of the podcasting pie. But honestly, the biggest move, the one that changes everything, happened in 2024 when they finally split from Liberty Media. Why does that matter? Because for the first time in a long time, management is completely in the driver's seat. Okay, so you've got these two different engines. But where does the money actually come from? Let's follow the cash. Despite all the big, splashy acquisitions, just look at this breakdown. A massive 70% of all the money this company makes still comes from those old-school satellite subscriptions. Pandora and the ad business, they're important for sure, but make no mistake, the health of this company today lives and dies with its paying in-car subscribers. And this table here really shows you the two different playbooks they're running. For SiriusXM, the game is all about predictable, recurring revenue. Get those 33 million people to pay about $15 every single month. Simple. Pandora, on the other hand, is playing a totally different game. It's a game of scale. Their goal is to rack up billions of listening hours and then turn all that attention into ad money. Now, a company's strategy is only as good as the people running the show. So let's take a look at who's in charge, especially after that massive corporate shakeup we just mentioned. This is such a critical piece of the backstory. For most of its modern life, SiriusXM wasn't really its own boss. Liberty Media owned a staggering 83% of the stock. That meant they effectively called the shots on everything. The board, big strategic moves, all of it. But that all changed. In September 2024, SiriusXM officially cut the cord with Liberty. It is now a fully independent company. And that is a fundamental shift because it gives management total freedom to spend the company's money however they see fit. For an investor, that's a huge deal. So who is this newly empowered team? Well, it's led by CEO Jennifer Witz, and get this, she's a company veteran who's been with Sirius since 2002. So this is a team that knows the audio business inside and out. The big question for us as investors, though, is what will this long-tenured team do with their new freedom? Their decisions on how to use the company's massive cash flow, that's going to be the ultimate test. Okay, let's get to the heart of the bull case, the number one reason you'd consider buying this stock. We're talking about the economic moat. Does this company have a real, durable competitive advantage that can protect its profits? Let's assess the fortress. Think of it like a castle, A moat is the big ditch filled with water that protects the castle's treasure from invaders. For a business, that means protecting its profits from competitors. So the question is, does SiriusXM have one? And just how strong is it? Well, it turns out SiriusXM's moat is actually built on three really powerful things. First, efficient scale. The satellite network costs billions to build and maintain. Good luck to anyone trying to copy that from scratch. Second, switching costs. It's factory installed in just about every new car, making it the easiest choice for drivers. And finally, intangible assets. It's got exclusive content you literally can't get anywhere else, plus a brand that screams premium audio. But, and there's always a but, isn't there? No fortress is perfect. Even the strongest walls can have cracks. So now we have to look at the real headwinds and the risks this business is facing.
This number. This is probably the single biggest red flag for any potential investor. In 2024, the company had a net loss of 649,000 SiriusXM subscribers. This isn't just growth slowing down, this is the business actively shrinking.
And when you look at the trend here, the picture gets even more concerning. The subscriber losses are actually speeding up. They went from losing 430,000 in 2023 to losing that 649,000 in 2024. For a business that is built on recurring subscriptions, a shrinking customer base is a fundamental five-alarm problem.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The company is pretty blunt about these challenges in its own financial filings. They point to huge competition from every direction, the risk that they'll keep losing subscribers, their heavy reliance on car company deals, and even the operational risk of a satellite going down. These are the battles they are fighting every single day.
So, when you put all of this together, you get the classic investor's dilemma. This is the core conflict you have to wrestle with if you're thinking about SiriusXM. The bull case is simple and it's powerful. A wide moat, a fire hose of free cash flow, we're talking over $1 billion, and a near monopoly on the car dashboard. But the bear case is just as compelling. A customer base that is literally shrinking, brutal competition from tech giants with bottomless pockets, and a core technology that feels, well, a little bit like a legacy product.
So that brings us to the final call. You have this powerful moat and incredible cash flow that screams classic value investment. But then you have these accelerating subscriber losses, and that screams value trap. For us, the outcome really depends entirely on what this newly independent management team does next. If they use their freedom and that cash flow to manage a slow, profitable decline and just return tons of money to shareholders, it could be a win. But if they start chasing growth against AI-powered tech giants, they could destroy a lot of value. Right now, the risk of that melting ice cube just feels a little too high, making this a hold for us until we see a very clear plan from leadership. The fortress is strong, but the tide of change is rising fast.